On Sukkot, we have a special mitzvah to be happy. It mentions 3 times by this holiday that we should be bisamach, be filled with joy. And why is it that we're so happy? We're not so happy because of our material wealth or any external circumstance. We're happy because of the connection we've built with Hashem, with our source, our creator, over the last couple weeks with Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. And now in Sukkot, we're just enjoying that relationship. One of the ideas of the Sukkah is that it has to have at least 2.5 walls. And the idea is that it's like 2.5, like it's like a hug from Hashem. That's what we're doing when we're in a Sukkah. We're just enjoying Hashem's presence. And a Sukkah means like a shelter. And where does our shelter come? Where does our real security come from in life? It comes from Hashem. Things might look strong. Money might look powerful, or having a good name might seem very important. But what's really will protect us in this world? Our relationship with Hashem. It's the only thing that has its own koach. Hashem made the world yesh me'ayin, something from nothing. There's nothing in this world that exists on its own, that could exist without Hashem for a second. So I'll tell you what just happened to me, and why I'm so happy is because I just went on a bus from Spot to Bnei Brak, 3.5 hours, and Baruch Hashem, I got here safely and got the bus. My bag wasn't there, like underneath my bag with all my new Sukkot clothes, and literally I packed my nicest clothes because I'm like, it's Chol Hamoed Sukkot, I should dress nicely. Why? Why do we dress nicely for the holidays? Because it helps us bring joy and honor to the holiday. We're beautifying the mitzvah. But we should also be able to be happy even without these things. Why are we happy? We're sitting in a sukkah. Sukkah is not our fancy house. We leave our fancy houses and our air conditioning and we go into the sukkah. That's where we want to be with Hashem. It doesn't take extravagance to connect to Hashem. It takes sitting down, thinking about it. So, basically my bag is gone. Please God, somehow, I don't have any identification on it, but somehow maybe someone will find it and hand it in and give it to me. But as for now, all my beautiful clothes, literally my nicest things I packed for a week, are gone. And what was I left with? The things I brought on the bus with me. I was left with my esrog, Baruch Hashem, it's a very pretty esrog, and my lulav, and my Sukkot machzor, and that's it. Oh, my hat got destroyed from opening the bus thing. It had the oil on it, and I had some food and some juice on me, and they got my credit card, my father's credit card, and that's it. And the last couple of days I was sitting in the sukkah and thinking we have to bring the sukkah inside of us, and really bring the idea of the sukkah of Hashem being our shelter, bring it in and think about it. And I was enjoying the idea, but now I get it. There's no force in this world except for Hashem. Sometimes we think we can exist without Hashem. Just as a table exists without the carpenter, no? Like, there's a table, there's a piece of wood, and the carpenter comes and he carves it and makes it into a beautiful piece of furniture. What does that mean that the carpenter is constantly involved with the table, and if the carpenter and the table can exist independently? One's the creator, one's the creation, but they can exist independently. But it's not the same with us and Hashem. Why? Because it's more like, say you took a rock and you threw the rock. It's not like with the table, it's that you took a tree and you expressed the potential inherently within. You brought it out. That's what the carpenter is doing. The rock does not have an inherent ability to fly. It has no energy of its own. What we're doing is we're taking the rock and we're giving it energy. And if the energy were to stop for a second, the rock would fall. The rock has no energy of its own. Hashem were to stop creating us for a second. Hashem's constantly creating the world. It's an amazing thing to meditate on. Hashem's constantly creating the world. To stop for a second, cease to exist. So when things go wrong, right, not the way we want to, we say Gamzu la tova. This too is inherently good. Not that it's gonna be good, like, maybe the person will return my bag, maybe we'll end up being friends or something like that. That's nice. But that's a future good. It's also inherently good in this moment. Why? Because it comes from Hashem. It comes from Hashem, it's only good. So, on that note, I'm now outside of the Letterman Synagogue, which is somewhere I've always wanted to be. It's the synagogue of Rabbi Chaim Kanievsky and his beloved Rebbe who passed on, Rebbe Sheva Kanievsky, who was a pillar of emunah, of trust in Hashem. She lived a very hard life, much harder than losing some clothes. And also she gave everything she had away. And it's an amazing thing to think like, what if an hour ago if you told me I'd lose all my possessions, I'd think that I'd be bawling. But really, we're okay. Like, we think we're so dependent on these things when, thank God, we realize that those aren't our core. We might feel like that's what I'm dependent on, but when they disappear, you realize, wait, I still exist. There's still a soul. I'm still in this world. Wow, I can exist without all my fancy skirts. Who knew? Baruch Hashem. So, but I was about to start davening for my bag. That, find my bag, please God. I realized there's things I want to cry over more. I want to cry over the fact that my friend Shayna said it. And I want to cry over the fact that how happy I am that I'm doing health, that I'm so healthy. Last year, Sukkot time, I was just about to be diagnosed with cancer, and I was sick. And that's what was going on. And this year, my decided by Sukkot time is that I lost some clothes. Like, thank God. Like, those are things I want to cry to joy and cry to sadness for. And then also I'll dive into for my bag. When we have all these emotions, right? We think, what do I want to use these emotions for? Like, when I get frustrated because whatever, the bus is taking so long. Do I want to daven? Oh, please shouldn't let the bus come. Yeah, you have to daven when the bus comes. It's actually a mitzvah. If something happens and you don't call out in distress, it's an avera. It's a sin. Why? Because it's like saying Hashem can't help. But also say, what do I want to do with this frustration? Maybe you have a friend who's not married. She really wants to be married. Hashem, use that frustration to daven for that person. Or maybe you know someone who's sick. Use the frustration, the anger, the angst in your day, and use those emotions to daven for that. It was just all sukkahs of dwelling with Hashem, of joy and besimcha. Why are we so happy? Because we're the Jewish people. We have mitzvahs that connect us to the source of the world. And we're not Jewish, we also still have mitzvahs that connect us to the source of the world with Hashem. And that is something to really, really rejoice in. Chag Sameach. Rabbi Moshe Kramer and Rabbi Sarah Kramer both survived the horrors of the Holocaust and married each other after in Eretz Yisrael. And once their entire lives were very poor, and they had a lot of hardships. They never were able to have children, and they adopted many children, and they're just phenomenal human beings. But basically, they lived in like a very small shack, and they had 6 cows, and it was a big deal for them to have 6 cows. That was their parnasa, that was their livelihood. And one day, one of the cows got sick and died, and Rabbi Sarah Kramer started to cry because it was a huge loss. And Rabbi Kramer came and said to her, "For 6 million, we cry. For a cow, we don't cry." Meaning that there's things to cry over, and there's things that you accept and you move on. So I was wondering that I just read that story last week, so I'm so happy I read the story because it really gave me strength. Because I'm still wondering, like, oh wow, I just realized, I lost my toothbrush. It's kicking in. Oh right, I lost that skirt. It's like building up in my mind a bit. But I really think it's an amazing mashal because we come into this world and we take, and we feel like we really own things. What happens? We get buried with nothing. We can't take anything into the next world with us, except for our masim tovim, our good deeds, our mitzvos. Those are the things that are eternal. Everything else is temporary, and that's the truth. So I think it's amazing that what was lost was all my clothes. And what I had with me, Baruch Hashem, my lulav, my ezrog, my siddur. Because really, that's all we can take with us, our mitzvos. That's the truth. So thank God that I get to see that lesson so clear as day in such a physical way. And also, how do we identify ourselves? We can identify by our name, by our culture, where we come from, how smart we are, how funny we are, how good looking we are. There's so many different things we can identify by. The thing is that those things are all fleeting. They may really feel like us, but at their core, they all disappear, just like that. So, what does Judaism tell us that our core identity is? Our identity is being a neshama, a spark of God. And that is something that can't change no matter what. No one and nothing can take that away from us, the fact that we are a spark of God. No one can take away our ability to do God's will. That is something that's purely ours at our core. It can't be taken away from us. It can't be lost. It can't be stolen. It can't be misplaced. So it's like, say there's, a manager of a very important and prestigious law firm. And he works really hard. And, his whole life is surrounded by this job. His children play with the associates' children, and they go on the yacht every summer with all his business clients and all these different things. His whole life is surrounded by his job. And one day, at the age of 45, what happens? He loses the job. The firm closes down, and he's totally lost It's not just that he doesn't have a job, he's lost. Who is he? That's who he was for the core of his life. And he doesn't have an identity anymore. It never happened to a Jew. Because we can have losses, but we can't lose who we are. Because what we are is a soul, a neshama. And that's ours forever. That's what we truly are. That's an eternal spark of the Kadosh Baruch Hu, of God. So I think this is just a good reminder that I'm not my clothes, I'm not my belongings, I'm not my backpack, I'm a soul, God. There's the story about this man who his father was being cheated. His father was a rabbi, and there was a collector who would go around and collect the Jews for the rabbi. And the collector was collecting a little bit too much for himself. But this rabbi, he thought too highly of himself. He said, look, I'm a rabbi. I'm a man of God. I'm a Torah scholar. I'm going to judge my fellow Jew. I'm going to falsely accuse my fellow Jew of thinking that they steal from me? No way. And so the family eventually went more and more poor because the father said, no, how could I think so poorly of someone? I have to give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they need more money more than me. So I was very inspired by that story. And today I'm like, you know what? I'm not even going to think that someone stole my bag, because why would someone do that? There's no way. It must be that there's a mistake. I wouldn't let my mind go there. I kept on thinking, oh, maybe someone stole my bag. No. No one stole my bag. Baruch Hashem, it was just an accident. And Baruch Hashem, on the bus, this woman helped me, and she was so kind. She was on the phone with the bus line for like 10 minutes, talking Hebrew, numbers, back and forth. Eventually, Baruch Hashem, they found my bag. A family from Spot, by accident, they got my bag. And it looked like the daughter's bag, and they had like so many kids with them that it just kind of got caught up in the mix. They felt so bad. They've been trying to find me. And Baruch Hashem, they're going to bring it right to my school next week, and who knows, maybe this will be another family we'll get to go to for Shabbat. For some reason, we're supposed to be entwined in each other's lives. So, Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem. And now I'm in Yerushalayim, so I'm going to go to the hotel, and I'm going to go shopping for new clothes. Yeah, there's no new clothes this week. Baruch Hashem. I'm also just so thankful, because usually like I freak out and like I put in so much effort when things go wrong, and today I just kind of like took the seat back, I let Shem be in the driver's seat, and I said, you know what, I'm in the passenger seat and I'm not gonna backseat drive, and I said Tehillim, and I davened, and I put in a bit of effort. I got someone to help me call the bus line, and that's it, and that's all it took. And I did a really big lesson to myself that I don't always need to put in so much effort. I can put in a fair amount of effort, I can leave the rest to Hashem, and Hashem really show me miracles today. Baruch Hashem.